Hello, Chiefs fans. It's Golden Jay, and I am basking in the glory of another dub by the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this last game is how we're supposed to win games. That's right. We beat the Browns 21-7. We went up 14-0 and never fucking looked back. Listen, this is the way that Kansas City should be winning these games. It's a blowout, so to speak. It wasn't like 50-0 or anything, but this is the way Kansas City should win. That's right. I loved it. I just got to sit back, relax. I might have got a little pissed off in the third quarter, but we'll talk about that later. So, this is the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast. I am Golden Jay, and with me is the Chief. What's up, buddy?
Hey, not much. Like you said, we didn't have to have a nail biter for once. And I won't go into. I'm sure we'll be talking about it, which was a nail biter later on, as you mentioned. Considering I was up till 4:40 or something Sunday morning, it was kind of nice to come down, flip on the TV at 5 to noon Central Time, and watch a game without stressing. And it was good. Yep. I still say that they.
Dang it.
That's what happens when you have a house full of people right there.
Yeah, I know. We just had a flyby behind me for those who aren't watching this on YouTube. But, we get away from the run again. First quarter, they're running. Second quarter, they run a little bit. Third quarter, fourth quarter, so I don't get it. I don't know. I just have a philosophy that says they're saving the running backs for the playoffs to be healthy and not beat up. It's the only thing I can think of. Especially when you're up 14-0. There's no reason why you can't just run the ball for half the game. So that's just my. Oh, you know what? Speaking of running the ball, there's Mr. Pacheco on my cup.
Pikachu.
Yeah, and the tackle situation, the blind side is just, I don't know, man. Guy gets injured, then we had to put the guy back in. For the love of God, just put a running back over there and do play action for a few plays so that he's not hounding after Mahomes. Cleveland should not have sacked Mahomes at all. They suck. I mean, let's face it, guys. They were 3-11 going into that game, I think, or something like that.
They were 3-10 going into that game.
Okay.
How many sacks did they have? Oh, let me look real quick. They had. They didn't have any sacks. Mahomes did not get sacked in that game.
All right. Well, he got hit too many times. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. And that brings up the point. No sacks according to the box score.
Okay.
A lot of pressure, a ton of pressure on Mahomes. And as of what I've read just within the last hour or so, they're not ruling him out for the Houston game. They did x-rays. There's nothing broken. So we're probably dealing with another high sprain like he had last year or the year before. So
both years.
Yeah. Did that hit? If you've seen that hit, they replayed it, and it was brutal. I mean, as far as you watching your, one of the best quarterbacks in the league getting rolled up on, basically, and I mean it hurt, but and I didn't catch the players in the rest of the NFL. I know that there was a couple games where they had to completely shut down the game and get the card out and come and take some players off the field. I think I wish I could remember which game it was where they actually had to cut off the guy's jersey and.
I want to say it was a Jets game.
Was that the Jets game?
I think so.
I wish I was going to research it, and I've been a little busy doing some other things. But was it a Jacksonville player or was it a Jets player?
I'm googling it right now because I just can't
Okay.
remember. But I I do want to say, oh, maybe it wasn't the Jets because that was 3 weeks ago. But I did see the one where they cut the face mask off. They cut his shirt
Yeah.
off and his pants off, and we
I
just
mean,
hope he's all
that.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a game that we love, and we know it's a hard hitter. We know it's a hard hitting game. And that's part of the joy of it is you're watching and like, oh my God, did you see that? They smoked his ass. But you don't want to see anybody get hurt. And it's interesting because I did watch a clip of Mahomes coming out of somewhere without his jersey on, just his cut off white shirt that he has, and
Mm,
the amount of padding, the rib padding that he was wearing is just unbelievable. And with these new I can't talk, what are they, the Halo helmets or whatever, the things that they're putting on
mm,
the helmets to help protect the guys. I mean, they look ridiculous. But man, if they're going to help those guys not get these concussions and
mm,
and all that, I'm all for it. I don't care how ridiculous it looks. I mean, it's not really affecting the game as far as, it's not shutting down mobility or cutting off vision or anything like that, but it is definitely helping these players stay safe while they're out there and not get these concussions and so on and so forth. So I don't know how well the Halo helmet works. I mean, there's way more people way smarter than I am that are testing these things out. So, but I'm all for it. And if he's got to wear full rib protection pads and stuff like that, as long as it's not affecting his mobility and all that, then let's let's sign him up. Let's get everybody in those things so that people are not
yeah.
getting hurt. But yeah,
Excuse me.
so anyways,
So
we did go
I wanted to
into
add one thing, Jeremy. The
okay.
Patrick Mahomes was a full participant in what they call a limited practice for the entire team.
Oh, right
So
on.
just as a heads up, that was the latest that I read, probably about an hour back as well. So along with a couple of other players, I don't know if you want to hit it now or later in the show, but
Yeah, which players were in there?
Hollywood Brown was a full participant Friday and today. Um, the rumor is they're gonna let him sit out this week, but my gut tells me they're gonna let him play in a limited role just to get used to the speed of the game and get a few hits in.
Right
So I
on.
think that's a huge positive. Hollywood Brown, and also, the rumor mill is that Rashid might be back for the playoffs. I've seen quite a few posts from different people saying that he'll be playoff ready, which, I mean, if we get Hollywood Brown and him back, I mean, with D Hopkins, I mean, that's what we've been wanting all year, you know,
Right.
and, that'll take a little away from the probably the pressure that Mahomes is feeling right now with, I know we have Noah Gray, I know we have Kelsey, I know we do have D Hopkins, but you know, we need those speed guys, you know. And we lost, oh gosh, who'd we lose a couple weeks ago? Oh my gosh, I just went blank. Um, gosh, bless America. Our other speed guy, the one that
Oh,
scored the
Hardman.
touchdown in the Super
McCole
Bowl.
Hardman.
Yeah,
McCole Hardman.
thank you.
Yeah.
So my brain just went blank. So, you know, as much as I say we should be running the ball, play action obviously is key. I mean, look what P. Ryan did on that one play action pass that he had. I think he
Mm-hmm.
ran it for 23 yards. Yeah. So if a defense is attacking, there's ways to get out of it, but we have to have the speed and the talent on the team to do it. Otherwise, we're going to wind up continually trying to win by a field goal or a last minute
Right.
score.
Right.
And I don't know what's going to happen against the Texans. Are they going to let Mahomes rest even though he feels okay? I know Mahomes. He's going to play if he can play,
Right.
you know.
Absolutely.
Um, but let's just say he's 70%, instead of 90. No one's
Right.
100%. But, is it smart to let Wentz come in and, just play a game? Basically, in my opinion, we just need to win, was it one game, maybe two? I can't remember if it's two or one out of the last three, which, again, for people that don't know, we're playing a game on Saturday, December 21st, followed by a game on Christmas Day, the 25th. So, there's less than 4 days rest, for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better word. That's insane. I don't
Well,
know how
then,
the NFL got away with this. I mean, 3 games in 10 days. Uh,
yeah,
it's insane.
exactly. Well, and to boot that, they gave us a fucking bye week in week number 6. It's
Yeah,
not
I
like we
mean,
got a late bye where, we could rest out a little bit. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, we got the Texans on Saturday, we got the Steelers on Wednesday, and then we turn around and play the Broncos on the
that
5th,
one's a
which is
well, it says TBD,
yeah. But it's
but
still
yeah,
on
it'll
the
be,
5th. It's just not a time.
yeah,
We just don't have a time set for it. So, I mean, it's ridiculous that we're playing these last 3 games in 10 days. Period. I mean, no team should have to play that many in 10 days. I don't give a fuck who they are. But you are correct. It's one game. If we can pull off one more win out of these next 3 games, then we'll take the first round bye and be the number 1 seed, and we will be able to rest that first week, host the divisional game, and which is big. And you want to be an Arrowhead for the divisional game. I mean, you want to be an Arrowhead for all the playoffs, but it'll be big, and we'll go from there. The Bills.
yeah,
The Bills right now are probably the hottest team in the NFL. Um, And I saw an interesting fact. If we can take the number 1, it's going to put the Bills and the Ravens at 2 and 3, and placing, I think it's Tampa Bay on the at the 4th spot. Leaves it leaves, I know it leaves the Chargers and the Broncos, and there's one more in there. I can't think of who it was, but that leaves them in the bottom 3. So the Bills would take on the Broncos or the Chargers, whoever is the bottom. Basically, what it gets out to is after they beat these lower teams, the Ravens and the Bills, they're going to be 2 and 3, and whoever wins, whether it be Tampa Bay, if Tampa Bay wins, then Tampa Bay is going to be going to Arrowhead, and the Bills and the Ravens are going to have to play each other. So that means that we won't have to host both the Bills and the Ravens, in order to make it to the Super Bowl. One of those two will
right.
extinguish the other, which will be nice. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I read that the other day. I mean, and it's a lot. We're still 3 games out. There's still a lot going on and all that, but it's just an interesting concept to think as we get closer and closer to the playoffs that is a likelihood that the Bills and the Ravens are going to play the divisional round against each other, one of which is going
So,
to knock the other one out.
I did not know this. While you were talking there, I was curious what other teams had this type of schedule. And 4 teams this year have are playing 10 or 3 games within 10 or 11 days.
Really?
And that, luckily, as luck would have it, that does happen to be the Steelers.
Okay.
Um, they played Sunday the 15th. They play again Saturday the 21st, and then us on the 25th. So they get the. I was curious about that. I was like, how much rest do they get in between playing us? So they're actually getting the same amount of rest as the Chiefs. So I
Okay.
like that fact that we're playing a team that there's 4 teams this year that probably have this exact schedule. I forgot the other 2 already, but I'm happy that we're even on rest because that
Right
at
on.
least makes, you know, no one can come back like us and say, hey, the team that we just played had 8 days of rest. We
Right.
had 3. I think that would make it unfair. But now that I look at the Steelers' schedule, they have the exact same 3 games in 10 days. So
Right on.
um,
That's
that makes me feel better.
it does. I agree with you, but at the same time, the NFL should not be scheduling it this way. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's the way the holidays fell, and
yeah.
they want to make as much money as possible. The Chiefs and Steelers game, I believe, is being played on Netflix on
Yes.
Christmas Day. Yes, it is
Yep.
Netflix.
Yep.
So that's another first. The Chiefs get the honors yet again. I believe they were the first Amazon Prime game as well. When
Absolutely.
Prime got on, I was on TV, by the way. If you guys go back and watch the replay, I'm standing up on this brick at Arrowhead. So yeah, the Chiefs, we're the best team, in the last 5 years, obviously. But being the best team gives you a lot of opportunities, but it also, in this scenario where you're playing 10 games, 3 games
10
in
games
10
in 3
days.
days.
Yeah, holy shit. Um, this ain't baseball, people. But being one of the better teams, I'm sure when they worked with Netflix came out and said, "Yeah, we'll pay you 100 million, whatever amount of
Right.
money the NFL got, but I want the Chiefs playing someone that we think is going to be good." So I think that's how the Chiefs wind up with some of these odd opportunities, playing on these odd days. I mean,
Right.
this has to be one of the first times an NFL game's been played on, Wednesday, Christmas Day, people, and probably years. I didn't do the research on it. I meant to, but I was going to say how many NFL games. I'll look it up while Jeremy hops on another subject. But
Well, you look it up. I'm going to dive into this game. Are you ready to get into
okay,
this?
yes,
All right. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as we head out to Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland, Ohio, which is like a homecoming for Travis Kelce, as he grew up in Cleveland Heights, in case you live under a rock and have never, ever heard New Heights podcast. He is from Cleveland Heights, was a Browns fan growing up. So it's interesting that, it's kind of like a homecoming. I can't remember the last time we played the Browns in Cleveland. I really don't remember. I don't remember. But since the podcast of New Heights has become so popular now, this is definitely a point to get at. But it is December 15th of the 2024. The Chiefs are at the Browns at 1 p.m. on CBS. And as it's gone the last few weeks, the Chiefs lost the coin toss and ended up taking the opening kickoff. But right away, 3-and-out. Big protection breakdown on the offensive
yep.
line, and they just looked miserable on that very first drive. So they punt, but the Browns fumble on the 21-yard line, and the Chiefs recover, allowing Juju Smith-Schuster, boom, my guy right there, with the helmet, Juju to go in for the 7, for the 6, as Butker, who is now back. Butker's back in a limited role to put up the extra, giving the Chiefs a 7-0 lead. I mean, right out the gate, we're already up by 7. But Butker's not doing the kickoff duties just yet. Justin Reed did do all the kickoff, kicking off, punting. Not punting, but kicking off in this game. Yes, that's. But so Cleveland gets the ball back, but they stall with a Furious George sack and the Browns punt. I wrote a note here, Phil, and it says, Did the Chiefs player touch that short punt? Oh, that's right, because when Cleveland punted, it was a short punt, and
Yeah.
and I think P. Ryan actually picked it up and started to go with it because it was kind of rolling around. But I think one of the Chiefs players actually touched it. Is why P. Ryan grabbed it and then took off with it. So looks like Hunt comes in now. Hunt's now back. Speaking of Cleveland, Kareem Hunt spent 5 years in Cleveland after leaving Kansas City under the
Leaving
circumstances
Kansas City.
that he left. He spent a lot of time playing with the Cleveland Browns, a lot of time working with Chubb. And, it was interesting to see him come back. He almost looked like he had something to prove, as his first touch went for 12 yards and then another right after that for another 7. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting, that we're giving him the ball. He's popping 12, popping 7. Then he was stuffed. Forgive me. Sorry about that.
Mhm.
So we're at a third and 3, third and 3. And once again, instead of running the ball, which from a running back who just ran 12, 7, and 1 or 0, we're going to take another deep shot down the field on a third and short. I just don't get it. I don't understand the idea of the play call on this.
They keep trying to go for the home run ball, just to make the defense back off a little, maybe. I don't know. Or,
Yeah.
maybe they only saw one safety, and Mahomes, when you see that, try a deep ball. I mean, that's
I
my
don't know, man.
guess.
I'm all about first downs, and I know that what it wants is, and they've talked about it, is that Mahomes wants those speedsters to get out there so he can drop that deep ball, make the big play. I mean, that was part of the electricity that was Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek had a better feel for the ball. And
Yeah.
as much as I like Worthy, I like his work ethic and what he's done for the team so far, he's still not quite on the. I think he's at the still at the beginning of the chapter when Mahomes is at the end of the chapter or the end of the page. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
just don't quite seem to be in sync just yet. And I think that's still the fact that Worthy's a rookie. He's still trying to get a feel for everything that is a regular season. I mean, we're 15 games in or 15 weeks in, and you're not going to get it all in the first year. He's going to have to take another year to really, I think, before he really starts to cook. So, anyways, Cleveland takes the ball back. They start to do a nice little drive, but get intercepted in the end zone by Cook, number 6 Cook, on a really nice up and grab. Let's see, what does that say? The interception ends the drive for the Browns with 1:35 to go in the first. Now all this is going on in the first fucking quarter, man.
Yep.
It just seemed like that first quarter was really, really long. But the Chiefs go 3 and out after the interception, and the end of the first has the Browns with the ball. 7-0 Kansas City at the end of 1. All right, man. Second quarter, Big George with his second, count that second. That is 2 big sacks. Browns punt with 13:57 to go. Another 3 and out for KC, 3:10. So there you go. I remember looking at that going, well, we didn't hold the ball very long. Our fucking defense is going to be exhausted because we're putting together these 3 and outs and we're using up 45 seconds. That's not enough. That's not enough time for our defense to rest. But they did a great job and held the Browns to a 3 and out with 11:49 to go. 7:02 to go. Mahomes with a big run for a first. 4:46 to go. He did throw a touchdown to Noah Gray. I mean, how many is that now for Noah this season? I mean, the guy is killing it. Butker with the extra point, giving Kansas City a 14-0 lead. But the Browns turned around, had a really nice return, so they started at the 50-yard line. The Browns do go for it on a 4th down, incomplete. Chiefs take over. But Butker missed the field goal. I don't know. The entire play was just off in that, if I remember everything correctly, because I wrote it was just off. It was like he was trying to get guys on the field because there wasn't enough. And, the time's ticking down. And I think they just forced it. They didn't want to burn a timeout. And, it just, I mean, he went way left with that, if I remember right.
Well, and if you remember the play, he kind of missed or whiffed or something. I mean, he didn't whiff the ball, but he went down to one knee and
One knee,
was
yeah.
kicking the ball. So,
Yep.
which he'd been doing a lot this season, which is why he had that surgery. But I don't think that had anything to do with the surgery. I just think he lost his footing. If you look at it
Right.
after he's kicking the ball, the cleat kind of gave out a little bit. So I think it was more footing than anything with that play.
Right on. Well, like I said, I thought the whole stinking play was off. It just did not feel right going into it, and it was like, okay, well, we missed it. We missed an extra. We missed a field goal. It'll be all right. We're up 14-0 as we finish the first half. Of course, as we start play in the second half, the Browns have the ball, but they did another turnover, an amazing interception by Bolton, which was more of a takeaway out of the guy's hands than it was an actual interception. But we'll take it. But the ball, it was pretty cool because the ball never hit the ground. It was the perfect place for Bolton to be at the perfect time. So yeah. With 12:59 to go, it was a 21-yard touchdown by Worthy, giving the Chiefs a 21-0 lead. But as the Browns take it back, it looks like Chubb fumbles the ball, which doesn't happen very often with him.
Yeah.
It was a punch out by Chanel and a recovery by Tranquil. Chiefs take over at the 45. With a crazy pass to D-Hop that ended up being incomplete.
Yep.
I mean, it was so close. I mean, one angle looks like he caught it. One angle looks like the ball hit the ground, which is what the referees decided in the very end. Casey did challenge it, but they did lose, which I think it was probably the right call. From the one angle off front, it definitely looked like the nose of that ball was on the ground. So not bad. Browns were having a good drive, but on a third down, Charles Amenahu comes around and knocks the ball out of Winston's hands. Browns recover and end up having to punt. That was with 6 minutes and 52 seconds left to go in the third. At 4:19 to go, Chiefs punt. Not a good one. Browns at the 50. It just was a day of just some crappy punts for Azera. So Browns on a 2nd and 23 run the ball for a 62-yard run. I mean, we had them pinned back. We had them on a sack, or I can't remember what exactly how it got pushed back so far, but it was a 2nd and 23, and we allowed them. I don't know. I don't think that was Chubb. I think it was Ford that ran that. For 62 fucking yards. Come on, guys. Come on. Where's my secondary making tackles?
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was not happy with that play. I mean, the defense played it balls out the entire game, and I think that's just one that got past them. Obviously, no great mystery there. It was a great play by Cleveland, but our defense was kind of just like, wow, that just really happened? Really?
Did that guy just go running by me? Holy shit!
That's kind of the look they had on the sideline. Everyone's just kind of like, that really just happened?
That just something happened. All right, well, that was with 3:16 to go. The Browns did score a touchdown on that 62-yard run, which makes it 21-7. Chiefs still in the lead. And, of course, Chiefs turn around and go another 3 and out. The offense just does not – I mean, against – I'm not going to say the Browns have a decent defense. I mean, they got Myles Garrett, and he was just wreaking havoc this entire game. But the defense is not terrible. Juan Thornhill's back there. He's a longtime Chief. We just did not get our offense up and running, really. I mean, I know we got 21 points and everything, but it just seemed like we had more 3-and-outs than what we should have
Well,
had. So
if it wasn't for the fact that the defense had 6 takeaways, I think was the total.
it was the total
Um,
6 takeaways.
you know,
With
Cleveland played like the dumpster fire we're used to them being, but
yeah,
our defense. I mean, gosh, I think they matched the takeaways. I think potentially for the year in one game. I think, if I remember
yeah.
correctly, or close
Oh
to it.
yeah, we went from what did that we were like -4 in takeaways up to
Yeah,
+2,
yeah.
so
I mean that's
well
huge. Again,
it is.
Spags is good. Cleveland's horrible. You know,
It's true.
defense won the game for us. I mean,
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
period.
Speaking of defense, with a minute 40 left to go in the third, big sack by Bolton with a loss of 8. Winston then gets a intentional grounding, which now turns around that the Browns have to punt. But guess what? Chiefs went 3-and-out.
No, say they so.
uh, the Chiefs punt in the third quarter with the Chiefs up 21-7. And my note here says, can someone please fucking tell me why we have abandoned the run in the third quarter? We need to
Well,
balance to be able to throw the ball. What the fuck do I know? But what the fuck do I know? That
yeah.
was my
Well,
note,
like,
my frustration
well,
in the third quarter.
yeah. You heard what I said. Even without us, we don't rehearse this, people. You know, at all. Trust me. Yeah, we might have a little small talk about a play or something. Like we talked about Mahomes getting injured,
Right.
but that was about it. And, at the beginning of the show, I was like, well, we run the first ball, or we run the ball a lot in the first quarter, second quarter, and the third quarter, it's just gone.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
get it,
vanished.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 3 running backs, which this might be a good segue into saying Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been released by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, he has.
And we wish him the best. With his PTSD. I think that's
Absolutely.
had nothing to do. I think with his playing ability. I think it just has to do with he's got to get some help in his life, and anyone that has PTSD, whether it be a military thing, a tragic event, whatever, reach out for
Yep.
help. There's a lot of organizations out there to help veterans or anybody that has a PTSD problem. So. But I wish him the best. He was great for the Chiefs. I know his role diminished over the years.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
he won us helped win us a couple of Super Bowls. Class act guy.
Absolutely.
Nothing but love, and even his post that he put out there was nothing but love for Kansas City. So, um, best wishes, and hopefully we'll see you as a Chief, and if we play against you, don't beat us up too bad, please. Um,
Well, like I said, I hope he gets things squared away. He's kind of been on the IR or whatever they put him on
yeah,
most of this season. He did come back and play a little bit, but it wasn't. It was a very small role, and then he was right back to being back on the injured report. And I get it. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of people coming back. If Hollywood Brown does come back this week, then you got to make space for him. And if
yeah,
they've had a layer on the 53, which I'm not sure if they did or not. He was always on some sort of injured report somewhere, but we got to start making room for these guys that are coming back, because we did go out and get players to fill their spots, and we don't
hmm
want to we want D Hop in there, we want Juju in there, we want these guys, Kareem in there, these guys we want on the 53-man roster to be able to step in
yep,
immediately to help out. I love this. I love this back and forth between Pacheco and Hunt. I mean, Pacheco is a different style runner than Hunt, but I mean, you get the 1-2 on those guys, and you never know what's going to come out. And Hunt has had a lot of great success as a running back in Kansas City, especially the last 7-8 games. He has been resting more now that Pacheco's back, but I think you're going to see a lot more Hunt in when we hit the playoffs. Maybe a 2-back set or something of that. Where we pull and just do a 2 tight ends, 3 wide receiver, and 2 running backs, and you never know what that's going to happen. And I hate to see P. Ryan go anywhere, man. He has been fucking amazing this season when he's playing, and it's just been great to have those guys. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And once he's got the ball, his yak is amazing. I mean, when he gets an open spot coming out of the backfield and Mahomes tossed it to him, man, he's good for 10 to 20 yards, I mean, immediately. So we want to keep P. Ryan around. We want to, we want that roster full for Pacheco and Hunt. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in the playoffs. But let's hit this fourth quarter real quick, because right out I don't remember exactly. I didn't write the time down. But in the fourth quarter, Trent McDuffie comes up with a huge interception, another one in the end zone as Cleveland was driving. McDuffie comes up with the interception. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, McDuffie is in his second year. He is probably listed as one of the top corners in the NFL. But this interception was his first career interception. Unfucking believable, as good as he is. And I'll tell you right now, the reason is because he is that good and nobody fucking hardly throws at him. And you know what I'm saying? And, very rarely does he blow a coverage. I've seen a couple. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, every player is not great every fucking play. So, but I mean, he's been consistently amazing for the last 2 years. And for this to be his first career interception actually is a little mind blowing, but he did. He walked away with it. And I think he said, I'm trying to think, did he say Hicks actually grabbed the ball from him? So he was going to get it. Yeah. In the post-game show, he was like, I need to get that ball back. That's my number one. I got to keep that motherfucker.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, there you go with that. As we're driving down, we end up with a fourth down. The Chiefs decide to go for it. They don't get it, but Pat comes off limping in this fourth down attempt. And once again, I'm not sure why it was a fourth and short, and we tried throwing the ball again. And we discussed it this whole episode. Where's the run game? We got to get these short yardage. That's what the run game's for. And we paid the price on this one. We paid the price on this going forward on fourth down. Mahomes gets rolled up. Like I said, like we talked about earlier, X-rays are clean. He's practicing. It's a high ankle sprain or something along those lines. So, he's not going to just let it set. He's going to go out there and keep working it. And he's got the trainers to get him back up to shape in time. They'll get it done. So we've seen it. And which season was it where we went on and won the Super Bowl? Was that the 2022?
2 years ago.
2 years ago when he was gimping the entire playoffs, but they kept working him over to make sure he was able to play. Yeah. We hold the Browns to a punt, and then Carson Wentz takes the field for Kansas City. I don't even know what we did with Wentz. Was it? I don't think we went 3 and out. I think we might have gotten a first down with Wentz, but we ended up punting away. And to finish out the game, Hicks comes up with an interception on Winston again with about 1:12 to go. And then they just kneel out the rest of the game. Kansas City wins 21-7. As we go to 13-3, ladies and gentlemen, you can't go 13-3. That's old school. We're 13-1. I'm sorry, I said 13-3 because we've ended many seasons 13-3. We did come away with what is probably some of the saddest yardage I've seen Mahomes put up. He went 19 for 38 at 159 yards. Not really a big day, but he did do better than Jameson Winston, who went 16 for 25 with 3 INTs. That's right. Pat had 0 interceptions again.
Who did get benched, by the way?
He did, as
Winston.
they brought in their rookie quarterback, who went 4 for 9 for 18 yards.
Yeah.
Poor guy. It's like, hey, we're losing. Why don't you go play?
Well, speaking of which, I got to update this. I forgot the update on my screen there. Now
I know, right? Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up. Kareem Hunt had 13 carries. 13 carries for 45 yards. Pacheco, 13 carries for 32 yards. P. Ryan went 1 for 11. Carson went 3 for 0. He must have lost yards on one of those. We did come away with, how many sacks did I read? It was a shit ton of them. Let me hit this. Worthy went, Xavier Worthy, 6 receptions for 46 yards on 11 targets. Once again, right there, Phil, 6 receptions on 11 targets. Now, I'm definitely not saying Worthy. I thought Pat's looking a little off in some of his throws. They just seemed really, really high.
Yeah.
Almost like he's trying to fine touch it. So,
yep, he was going way too high.
Yeah. So Worthy is not dropping these passes. They're not hitting his hands and he's dropping them. It's just that, 11 targets it just wasn't the same page for the two of them. D-Hop went 5 for 36 on 6 targets. Travis, another small day for him as he took 4 for 27 on 8 targets. Once again, overthrowing Kelsey in the end zone for 1. I mean, Kelsey's got a good vertical on him, but he definitely doesn't have that kind of vertical. So, Noah Gray, 2 for 21 in a tutty. Juju Smith-Schuster, 1 for 7 in a tutty. So there you go with some of that. We did walk away with 5 sacks. Gotta love that, man. Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil for both half sacks. Treshawn Wharton got 1. George Karlaftis got 2. And Charles Amenahu got 1. So 5 sacks on Winston. Listen, man, Cleveland just truly is a dumpster fire. I mean, as bad as sometimes our defense can be, which, I mean, legitimately, we're not a bad defense. We're a very good defense, but we have our moments, especially in our secondary. I just Cleveland just cannot put it together. I mean, they went out and bought players 3 years ago where they built a fucking Super Bowl team and they still couldn't get it put together. I don't even know if they made the playoffs that year. They might have, but when they had all that talent and they just could not make it work. I don't know. You got to feel. They did go get Jerry Jeudy, who went 11 for 108, 14 targets. Man, that dude looked fucking unstoppable. He's one of those guys you definitely want on your team. It's too bad he's stuck in Cleveland because he'll never see a Super Bowl in Cleveland. So hopefully he can get out of his contract by the end of next year and go to an actual team that can get him there. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Kansas City takes the win 21-7 over the Cleveland Browns, taking us to 13-1. God damn, you gotta love a 13-1.
Yeah. I like it. It's 13-1 is currently the best record in the NFL. Followed up by 12-1 with Philly.
What did Philly do? I missed that.
No, Philly's 12-1 along with Detroit. They're both 12-2. Sorry, both teams are 12-2.
Yeah, yep, yeah. With Detroit losing the other night in what I think is a tragic loss, I did not expect them to lose, but who did they end up losing to? I mean, a formidable team. Was that the Bills? That was the Bills. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Bills.
But it was a high scoring game. Buffalo beat them 48-42. I mean, it was a high scoring game. A lot of defense, a lot of offense. I mean, it was everything you dreamed of in a fucking football game, you know. Injuries. Once again, I think Detroit was one of the teams that had to bring out the cart for one of their players. Once again, I apologize, Detroit fans. I do not know the player who got hurt, but I hope he's doing well because, and I do believe Montgomery went out with a foot injury. So it's interesting where Detroit's kind of, as we head into the playoffs, I don't see them faltering, but man, they're taking on some injuries that may be hard for them to overcome. And I think they're the favorite to be a Super Bowl contender. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
So, as we're talking about, we're outside of our Chiefs games.
A
Just
little
want to
bit.
throw out there. Just want to throw out there that Thursday night game with the Los Angeles Chargers and Denver. That should Denver win, they will clinch their playoff spot. If they lose, then that kind of ties them up a little bit with the Chargers. But I'm just bringing it out because they're in our division.
Mm-hmm.
Our division has been historically just sucked. But there's obviously our dumpster fire. But yeah, the Broncos are 9-5 right now. Los Angeles Chargers are 8-6. So should Los Angeles win, then no one clinches by just that one game. No one clinches a playoff spot. So, and it's also
Really?
possible teams will turn into a dumpster fire and lose out and not even get to. So I'm not sure, but I just think it's worth noting. The Thursday night game. Denver will get a playoff spot should they beat the Chargers. So
I tell you what, Bo Nix is looking legit this year. I know it's his rookie year,
yeah,
but man, he's looking legit. He's looking like a quarterback stud. So I mean, as much as I hate Sean Payton and I hate the
uh,
Broncos, I'm happy to see that he's doing well,
mhm.
and especially coming out just being a rookie and doing so well. So best of
Yeah.
luck to
So
him and what their future endeavors are.
to lose against the Chiefs. But anyway, I know we spoke earlier about Wednesday games. I was kind of surprised by this stat. There have been 40 NFL games played on Wednesdays,
Really?
dating back to 1925, and I think I think I closed the other page, but the Ravens and Steelers game during COVID-19 was postponed until a Wednesday night game because so many people had COVID. So I think that's the most recent game that was played on a Wednesday, and that was due to I don't remember which team got the most players sick, but
Right.
they moved it so that they could actually field the team, I guess. But yeah, 40 games. I was kind of surprised by that stat, and if I went back and looked a little deeper into it, I'm going to guess that most of those games were probably before the 1960s.
Right. Right.
I'm just going on a limb on that one. And then, so there's your stat for
There it
Wednesday night
is.
game or Wednesday
There it
football
is.
game. So
Just remember, people, Kansas City's played every day of the week but Tuesday this year. From
yes,
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Black Friday, and of course, Saturday game coming up against Houston. So we played every day of the week. We should have just they should have just scheduled a fucking Tuesday game and been done with it, and so we can say
so
we
we could say
played
we
all
played every
7
single
days.
game. So
uh,
speaking of Houston, as we think about Houston, I went and kind of looked at their injury report. As they head into the game with us,
uh-huh.
um, you know, uh, they got quite a few people that are out, or might be out. So We got, let me see. Sorry, I gotta go back to that page. We
Do
got
it
an
up.
offensive lineman that's out. It says out. Hold on. Let me make sure we got, what week are we in? 16 or 17? 15 or 16 this week.
I don't no idea, man. I have no fucking clue.
All right. Well, I'll go through the top ones here that I found.
Okay.
Offensive lineman, Juice Scruggs. Supposedly, he's expected to be out until at least week 17 against the Baltimore Ravens, so he'll be out against us. Linebacker Aziz Al Shahir. He
Oh, yeah,
starts
that
his,
guy.
he, the one that did that bad hit on Jacksonville. He actually starts his 3-game suspension on Sunday, so he will not be suited up against the Chiefs at all, and he'll be back on week 18. Linebacker Christian Harris, he's questionable. He was elevated off the injured reserve on Monday, but Texans are being cautious, so they're not sure, if he'll play. And were the major ones that I kind of found, just kind of browsing around on their side. Then the
Well,
Chiefs, obviously, go ahead, sorry.
let me give you a quick rundown of the Texans game against the Dolphins. Now, the Texans did beat the Dolphins 20-12. CJ Stroud went 18 for 26 for 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 4 sacks against him. Joe Mixon went 12 for 23 yards. That's like their stud running back is Joe Mixon, and he went 12 for 23, so he got shut down. And Nico Collins, which I was talking about Nico earlier, 4 receptions for 17 yards on 6 targets. So Joe Mixon out of the backfield, 5 receptions, 33 yards on 6 targets. They just did not have anything through the air, 131 yards. So once again, we're a little bumped up right now because Najee Johnson had to come back in because I can't remember who went out with a concussion. It wasn't Williams, I don't think, was it? I can't remember who went out with a concussion
I don't remember.
in this last game. We got Trent McDuffie out there. You put him on Nico Collins and let the other guys kind of handle these little short guy, these short other wide receivers that Houston has, and I think we're going to be good. And you put Chris Jones in the middle is going to stop that run, along with George, along with Amenahu. I mean, we're going to be in good shape defensive wise up front. We may even come up with 4 sacks of our own. So I see Kansas City beating Houston on Saturday if we can figure out a nice balance between the run and the pass. And that, to me, is where we need to really work on. I believe that if we can balance it a little bit better, it's just going to open up. It's going to shut down this defensive attack on Mahomes and maybe Wentz. I'm just saying. But I like the idea of moving Tooney over to the left tackle. It really did seem to work. It just seemed like the pressure was down on that side. Kasi, I can't remember. What's the name of the guy that came in and took over Tooney's spot? Damn, I'm trying to think of his name.
I forgot.
It's all right, but he did really well in the middle. So I think we have what can get us through for a while until either Humphreys gets him, if he's done. I haven't heard one way or the other with him. But I'm looking forward to this game on Saturday. It's going to be fun. Back in Arrowhead. This is the last game in Arrowhead, I believe, isn't it?
Yep, till the playoffs.
Yeah. So there you go. Last home game. I think we ought to come away with I think we're a 7-point stud in this game. I think we ought to come out by 7. Don't you think?
I I'm gonna say
As
10 on this game, just
as
because.
many close games as we've had this year, I'm thinking 7 is pretty fucking generous.
Well, I'm gonna go with 10. I'm gonna go with 10 if they stick with the running game a little bit more,
Right on.
because that's. I think that's what they're gonna do, whether it be Winston starts or Mahomes. If he's
Right,
able to
right,
play, I think they're gonna rely on the run game a little more to so Mahomes doesn't have to run around as much. If
right.
Carson Wentz is playing. He knows our offense, but he's never played a full game. So I think the
Right.
running game or play action for that matter will play a big role, which will lead to clock management. And our defense should be coming on the field fully rested, and that's why I say
Yeah.
10 points. That,
Right
that
on.
if Mahomes wasn't injured, I'd go with 7. Oddly enough, but
Weird, huh?
I'm going to say they're going to manage this game. So
Right. I can see that. All right, Phil. I'm going to change this from where are they now to do you remember? Because
okay,
the last few weeks, it haven't been a lot of where are they now type things because there's just not a ton of information on what these players are actually up to these days. So do you remember? Are you ready?
yep,
Pay very close attention. Born February 18th, 1986, this American football player was a corner in the National Football League. He played college at Virginia Tech and was selected by the Kansas City Chiefs in the second round of the 2008 NFL Draft. He played high school football while attending Atlantic Community High School, where he earned first team all area and all conference honors and was a teammate to Amar Jackson and David Clowney. What do you think about that?
huh.
He attended Virginia Tech, where he studied sociology. And then there was just a bunch of college stats. He did not play in the season opener against Southern California, but made a spectacular interception for 38-yard return the following week versus Western Michigan. That was his freshman year. Sophomore year, he took the boundary cornerback spot going start to final 27 games. Just he ended in 41 games at Virginia Tech. He made 28 starts at corner, making 158 tackles, 99 solo, and 3.5 sacks for minus negative 28 yards. Is that a double entendre? Minus negative. Sorry about that. 17 stop for a loss of 71 and 6 quarterback pressures. His professional career started in the 2008 draft. I thought I showed where he was selected. Yeah, there we go. Selected by the Chiefs in the second round, 35th overall. He was selected. No, forget that. He signed a contract for 4 years. In the 2008 season, he played opposite of Patrick Surtain. Do you remember Patrick Surtain when he played for
Yep,
Kansas
I
City?
remember him. Yeah.
This guy Patrick Surtain is his cousin. He recorded his first 2 career interceptions against Brett Favre when Favre was with the Jets on October 26th, returning the second one for the 91 yards for a touchdown. However, the Chiefs lost that game 28-24. He finished that season with 69 tackles, 62 of them solo, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown. So there you go. I'm going to say, okay, so he played on September 16th, 2011. He signed a 5-year contract extension with the Chiefs worth $50 million with a $22 million guarantee. In the Chiefs-Raiders game, he picked the ball twice, one of which returned for a touchdown. Finished the season with 59 tackles and 4 interceptions. And then in June 24th of 2014, he signed a 1-year deal with the San Diego Chargers. His decision was influenced by the opportunity to play against the Chiefs. In the Jacksonville Jaguars game on September 28, 2014, he picked off Blake Bortles, his first interception as a Charger. He then went on to have an interception against Geno Smith when he played for the Jets. And Sean Hill, intercepting Sean Hill, with the Rams. Hold on. I know that I saw something. I thought I saw his career. Anyways, he ended up with in total, he ended up with 21 interceptions in his career, as he announced his retirement August 8th, 2017. What do you think there, Chief? What do you got? Do you know who this player is?
Probably not. The only two I could think of in that era is Pollard and Cluster or whatever the hell his name was.
Well, I already did Dexter McCluster. No, wait,
Okay.
Dexter yeah.
Or what was his last name? Those are the only two that come to mind in that time period.
You're gonna kick yourself when I tell you the name of this player. He wore number 20. You know it's not what?
No, it's not Peters, because that was after 2008.
No offense, Kansas City Chiefs fans, but fuck Marcus Peters. I will never ever bring him into Where Are They Now or Do You Remember?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to remember.
Yeah, he was such a poor sportsman and got us so many penalties for doing stupid shit.
He was all about the stats. He was a stat guy. He wanted the interceptions and the takeaways and all that. He didn't give a shit about tackling. He let a guy run 40 fucking yards while he tried to punch the ball out. Fuck that dude. He was the downfall of the Kansas City Corners at that point. Anyways.
Yep. That's the only two I can think of.
This player who wore number 24 for the Kansas City Chiefs is Brandon Flowers.
Okay. Yeah, he was a badass.
One of my favorite players back in the day. I remember watching Flowers a lot. So,
like I said,
but I didn't know that
back to then, because 2012 was when we really started to suck. So I was like, with that, Chiefs were the dumpster fire of the NFL then, for that 3 or 4 year span.
There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, when we were the dumpster fire. Thank you, Todd Haley, you fucking piece of shit.
So, curious. Yeah. Did you go look at what he's doing now, by chance?
I didn't find anything, but
oh, okay. Maybe he's
I didn't do like a
Bahamas.
No, I didn't do a big dive into where all that. So there's a lot, but it just he did return to Kansas City to retire. Former Kansas City Chiefs cornerback Brandon Flowers returns to the team this week in order to retire with his original franchise, which I fucking love that. I love that when players do that. I know that I am a little butthurt that Joe Montana didn't retire a Chief, but I mean all of his big stuff was with San Francisco, and I get it. You go back to your original team. I don't know. Did Tom Brady do that? Did he go back to the Patriots and sign a one-day to retire as a Patriot? I love that these guys do it. That they show the respect and the love for the team that they spent their majority of their career at, and it's awesome. So, all right, Chief. Well, let's get out of here. And remember, I want you to remember one thing. Don't be a Jonathan Taylor. Don't drop the ball before you fucking cross the goal line, ladies and gentlemen.
That was pretty damn funny.
That's my little little helpful advice to all of our Chiefs fans out there. Hold the ball all the way through the end of the play. Don't drop it before you cross the line. All right, from our little slice of Chiefs Kingdom right here in the great state of Indiana, I just got 3 words for you, baby. Are you ready? How about those Chiefs? Later.
Thank you for listening to the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Podbean, any of your favorite podcast sites. Be sure to watch us on YouTube. Just search for the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast. Also, check us out on Facebook for any updates on the Chiefs and all of our weekly posts. You can find us at facebook.com/INChiefsFansPod. Finally, go check out our Golden Mojo Entertainment website at goldenmojoent.com. You can find information about your 3 favorite hosts and all the other podcasts in the Golden Mojo Entertainment family. Those podcasts include The Call Guys, Golden Image Podcast, The United States of Paranormal, The Golden 80s Podcast, The Murdnerds, and A Court of Books and Booze. Thank you for tuning in, and how about those Chiefs?